Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Changeling the Lost Littlebrook Reunion. I was gonna say Littlebrook Reunited, but I just did. I'm Chris, the storyteller for this game, the Primogen on YouTube and Twitter. And with me we have, starting with whoever.
Hi, I'm Megan. I play Nova, a beast.
Hey, I'm Trev. I play Sylas, an ogre.
Hi, I am.
Oh shit, you're up. Go for it.
No! I am Adam. I play Jonas, the Dark.
I'm Harry. I play Nate, the fairest.
Does that mean I'm the last?
That is true because Lars is not with us today.
I am Kitsu and I play Tide and they're an elemental.
Indeed. And like I said, Lars, our sixth member, is not with us today. We hope you're having fun. And some few things before we start. First of all, I was recently made aware that there is a noise gate function in OBS, so I am trying that out now. If there is something weird with my audio, if it's cutting off or if it's just otherwise being weird, do let me know in the chat. I will be trying to keep an eye on it. But if I miss it, if some of the other players can also try to keep an eye on the chat, just so that the experience of watching it as good as possible. Also, I will be occasionally looking over there because for some reason I have double windows open, but that's just how it goes. You are in the library of Littlebrook. Some of you, or most likely all of you, have been to this building at one time or another, but it's certainly not the same building that Sylas would have visited plenty of times in his youth to what Jonas or Tide would know. There are several computers, machines that to Sylas are strange. They look like television sets with electronic keyboards in front of them. Typewriters, sorry. And to Nova and Nate, they look futuristic. Something you'd see in a movie, perhaps Back to the Future. Matthew has gone off to get your tea and coffee, and you're for once alone, except for Amanda, who's been slowly drifting off to the corner watching the event. What do you do?
I'm going to take a look at one of the computers. Taking the keyboard, I lift it with a hand and say, okay, this is interesting. I'm not completely unfamiliar. This is like a really skinny typewriter, right? So you type here, I guess the words come up on the television. That's really useful. I can see how you can use that in a library for children and such.
It's a computer. Windows not a thing in your time?
I mean, yeah, we have computers, but they're gigantic. One computer could take up this whole room. It's used by, I don't know, military, scientists, no one I know. So, I mean, so this is a computer. What can it do? Where's the slot for the punch cards?
Yeah, I don't know the whole technicalities of it, so if someone here is better at those, they made everything smaller. So everything is inside. There was a time when they used a thing, I think they dropped the punch cards early on. And then they used something called floppy disks. And then they used something called CDs later on. It's like
CDs?
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm not seeing. Does the PC have like a CD port?
It actually, considering this is a city library, there are still CD ports. And yes, there's.
Yeah, see, look.
Oh, sorry. There's one or two kind of more flat screeny monitors, but they still have some CTRs. I think they're called CTRs, right?
Take a look at some of the silvery discs near some of the computers that look like they fit the port. Oh, okay. these are kind of like futuristic records.
Yeah, they are. Jonas walks forward and see if there is like any games, like learning games or something on the computer.
CRTs, by the way, I messed that up. You start up the computer. They're actually still running earlier versions of Windows, but you don't really recognize this one. It's called Windows.
XP.
I think XP was still around in 2001, right? Wasn't it?
I think
Was
so.
It was a new thing. Yeah, it's Windows XP. You recognize it because your dad had it on his computer. It's top of the line. There are some old learning games. There's like Encarta. There's King's Quest 7. There's I Am Mean spelling game. There's some stuff there. There's a pyramid game
I
from
personally love I Am Mean, by the way. So
It's a great game. It's a great. I played it so many hours. I actually know the song by heart.
This just doesn't tell me anything.
It looks like a giant book on the front of it.
Yeah.
So what's this one? The Encarta disc.
I take the mouse and like you navigate with this, and then I double click the icon.
Jonas, where's the floppy disk entry? I'm not seeing it. Or do they have still that one?
I don't know. Maybe they don't use them anymore.
I mean, it's been how many years? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's been a while for me. It's possible it's definite things have gone farther than they were when we were around.
Yeah, I think that this, like, for you, Sylas, this is for kids, I'm thinking, but it might be an opportunity for you to like learn what's happened, maybe.
Yeah, this Encarta looks like some kind of encyclopedia on a computer. I mean, that's genius. You could just download everything, share it. What would take so many volumes, now you could just fit on a CD. Just copy it and put it in every library in the country. It makes so much sense.
I think that. Do you know what the internet is?
A what?
What now?
The internet, the web.
Never heard of it.
I'm not sure how it works, but it's like it's like you can access like information from any computer that has internet and find it. So you don't need to download it on every computer. It's like, here, I'll show you, and I'll open what I think is the internet.
You click on something that kind of looks like it's no, Netscape wouldn't be working anymore.
You find Netscape.
Explorer?
Find Netscape Explorer. What's
there's
what we use.
Internet Explorer is still installed on this computer.
Yeah. I'll double click that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
don't use Internet Explorer, Jonas. They say it's bad. Where's Netscape?
like the website is slowly loading to google.com, which I don't even think was a thing in 2001.
Okay, so this is some kind of web page, and you can, I don't know, what do you want to know? Tell me
You have
something you want to
Google in
know.
2001, by the way.
Oh, you did.
Okay,
Ah,
great.
ah.
This is tell me something you want to know, Sylas. Anything.
Is a search in.
Can I do something while you're checking out the
Oh
computer?
yeah, sure. What do you want to do?
Yeah, because I see Amanda over there,
Hmm?
and I walk over kind of angrily to her,
Okay.
and
She just kind of shrinks back when you approach her.
Out of pure curiosity, I am gonna follow.
yeah, I'm just there like, you knew I was there, yes?
No, I did. She was on. No, I didn't. I didn't get taken until 3 years after you.
It wasn't that night?
No, it wasn't. I came back to the car and you were there and you were acting pretty weird. I thought maybe you and Jimmy had been fighting or something. Like 2 weeks after that, you just up and left. Didn't even say goodbye. I thought something weird had happened. Promise. Nadine, I wouldn't lie to you about this. I'm really sorry. If I'd known... I mean, it was a vote. We held a vote to it, and the majority won, and we decided to do it. Really sorry.
Okay, Amanda, it's gonna take me a second because this is a lot, and that was gonna be a real hard thing. And I'm not doing so good.
Yeah. That's if there's anything I can do, like just let me know. I can. I mean, I can show you stuff. Like I don't know. Do you? Shit. Thing now.
I don't think so, not yet. But
2019 is now.
oh yeah,
yeah,
we're in 2019. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I will help you, Nadine. I promise. You can stay at my place if you want, or maybe the principal. I mean, Blackbird. Maybe she can help you out. I'll ask her.
Okay, Amanda, this is the truth?
She just nods slowly. She looks very worried and a little scared, actually.
Okay. I guess thank you for bringing us here. I don't know, and I just kind of like get quiet.
Kind of goes quiet too. Stands between bookshelves and fiddles with her fingers. She's wearing these call them arm
A cast or a brace?
more like the knitted arm.
Oh,
yeah.
oh shit! What do
Arm
you call
warmer.
those?
Arm warmers?
Arm warmers, I guess. Yeah, I guess you'd call them that, like knitted arm warmers.
That
They're
works.
green and red striped. She's just kind of fiddling. They're a little too big, so they're kind of slipping over her palms. But she keeps looking at you, Nova, like really sorry if I'm gonna go help Matthew with coffee. Kind of runs to the small office. Half runs anyway, doesn't bolt it.
I'll go back thinking I think I might have come on too strong, but I was so angry.
Yeah, what was that about, Nova?
What if she knew? What if she knew and then she voted for it and they were fine? There were obviously some people were fine with us just being there. We were a cost and it was fine for them, and that's not fine to me.
I get that. I really do, but at the same time, I think that from what I can deduce so far, it seems like they were in a lot of danger by having the hedge be open, by having Faye be able to come into Littlebrook.
But so were
And
we.
honestly, yes, so were we. But there are only, what, 6 of us?
But
As opposed to who knows how many other people like us in Littlebrook itself. I mean, they had to make that call. It's not a good one to make, but at the same time,
Nate. I don't know if I'm going to be okay with it. I'm just going to have to be not okay with it.
well, all right then. I suppose you will.
Sylas comes back to the table looking just about triumphant. Yeah, remember we heard about they put a man on the moon? It's apparently in the encyclopedia and the internet. You know, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins. Yeah, USA. Oh, that's...
Just imagine this lumbering 6'8" giant, like, yeah, we put a man on the moon, USA.
When I left, we thought Russians were going to take over space or something, death from above. So we got there, what, 10 years after? A little bit more than that? That's thinking about it.
Remind me, I think Reagan and his Star Wars plan was in the early 80s, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, the little space lasers shoot down nukes. That's a thing
As someone brings up Ronald Reagan, I raise my hand. Hold on. Ronald Reagan, the movie actor? Now, don't get me wrong. What is that one called? The Hellcats in the Navy? That was a good movie. I actually remember that. I think back in '57. It was great, but if you said Ronald Reagan had a plan with space lasers, I assume it's part of the film.
Yeah, he was the president for a little while. Bit of a controversial figure, but generally well liked.
He is a pretty good talker. I can actually see it.
That's something you can say about him.
All good for him.
Jonas is sitting by the computer, just like trying to search information, like Google News plus 2002, News plus 2003, and so on. Just trying to find out a bit of what's going on and waiting for Matthew.
So much. Back in 2001, the internet, I mean, it wasn't young, but it was certainly more manageable. Like, there was a couple of websites you'd go for news, there was some forums. Now it's just sponsored links, image search, Donald Trump.
I'm just trying to get a hand on the internet, I think, and just trying to understand it and also find information, and that's probably what I'll be doing while waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You go first.
No. Go.
I leave Intuit after a while because there's only one mouse and only one screen, and I just sort of wander around into the kids section or something, and I come back with a storm, like storming back. Jonas!
What?
Jonas, the Harry Potter series is done. Look, and I show you the last book. There's 7 of these now. 7, right?
Okay, I guess we have some reading to do there. Like,
oh my
don't.
Gosh.
Okay, I should not search the internet for Harry Potter then. So
no, because you're gonna be spoiled what it says.
Yeah. See if you can maybe borrow those books from Matthew.
Okay, go back and I come back with 7 books.
Power.
Then I remember I go back and grab another 7, so I'm like trying to hold 2 sets of them. Because what if we'll both start reading from the first and then we can't read so we need 2 sets of books. So I come back with 2 sets of Harry Potter books.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're hidden behind the books. You're just enough time has passed that Matthew and Amanda comes walking with a couple of steaming mugs of coffee and tea, and the smell is familiar. It's a kind of a chai flavor to the tea, so probably not that popular back when you were in Littlebrook, but now it has this kind of spicy cinnamon smell to it. Something else you can't really place. Is that chili? Kind of hard to tell. And Matthew just kind of puts the tray down, and there's a few cookies in a little glass jar. Well, then we'll just take as much as you want, and if you had any questions, then I will be happy to answer all of them.
Grab the coffee and move back a little and just start sipping it.
You have these very comfortable armchairs that you kind of slip down into here on the upper floor.
How many of us? How many people like us are there in Littlebrook?
Well, I would say that with the 6 of you, as well as us, there are 12 of us here in Littlebrook. So it's about an even race.
how did you manage to block out that other place from coming in here? The curse. What is?
That is a rather difficult question to answer, depending really on whether you want me to tell you all the little details, or rather if you want me to tell you the picture.
Let's start with the big picture.
Let's start with the big picture. So, in 2002, beginning of the year, we gathered those of us who were living in the town at the time, and we discussed recent disappearances, several members of the community, their replacement with the fetches, and what we should do with things. It would seem to us that there was this kind of cyclical kidnapping, as it were, sort of 20 years apart. At times there would be the occasional disappearance in between, but we could never really verify whether that was because they were actually missing or if they'd been taken. So we decided to investigate whether or not we could sort of put a kind of a temporary or permanent stop to it, and the conclusion we reached was that we could form a sort of contract, which I'm sure you're familiar with the seasons, and by doing so, we could essentially hinder the arrival or departure, as it were, of fey creatures to and from Arcadia and the Hedge. This has worked out rather well so far. We've not received any creatures or changelings for the last 17 years. That is also, by the way, the common nomenclature for our kind, changeling. This is an old term that we've decided to adopt, kind of identify ourselves with.
So
Yes.
so you didn't have the skill or the knowledge about this contract before 2002.
I would say that we had some knowledge about it. We did barter with some of the less hostile goblins, Fey realm of the Hedge. Through them, we managed to acquire a certain amount of artifacts and items that allowed us to conduct this ritual. And while it did exact a rather heavy toll on all of us, the result, as you've seen, speaks for itself.
But you could have done it earlier. Could you have done it earlier? Like 2000?
I
99?
suppose we could have, yes. We hadn't reached the kind of consensus that would allow us to such an act. There were still voices opposed to it, but it was held to a vote, and the majority won. Go through with it.
You were too slow.
I open my mouth. I feel almost surprised by the size of the armchair I'm sitting in. It's like that there's been deliberately a very large armchair that a very large person can't sit in. And I wonder if this is anything to do with the Changeling. Nonetheless, I press on and I ask Matthew, how long have I guess people like us, these changelings, been taken from Littlebrook?
Well, that's another very good question, and I do believe I've been reading the records of the city since I moved here in the 93, and what I found is that there have been cyclical disappearances throughout the history of Littlebrook ever since the very foundation of the town itself. My theory is that this particular part of the United States just happens to be a location where the veil or the wall or the hedge is particularly weak, or if you'd rather have it particularly a bit more active, and it just happens to be a location where the city was also founded. I have not been able to find any historical records from the original population living here before the settlers arrived, but I can only presume that a few of the locations in the forest are probably passed down through word of mouth, off-limit locals.
Am I correct in assuming that we are nearing the next cycle soon?
Well, I would. It's difficult to say, but your appearance certainly hints that the veil might have been weakened. I'm going to have to investigate. I was actually considering plotting for the roofed bridge after we're done here to do my own research. However, we do have a procedure of researching the integrity of our spell, and so far it hasn't been showing any signs of losing powers. In fact, I would say it's almost certainly still in effect.
So then how do you think we got here then?
Very difficult to say. Either there was some loophole in the contract that we were not aware of, or perhaps your appearance was just outside of the city limits through some manner of fluke, or, like you said, spell is fading. Hasn't shown us yet that it's not quite as efficient as it used to be.
Yeah, it feels like to me that if a giant dragon got through, then that's more than a little bit of a loophole. That's the spell is either failing or it's already almost gone. Like a dragon got through.
I should probably clarify, by the way, I used the term spell, but contract works just as well. In fact, contract is probably the proper term for it. But yes, you mentioned a dragon, and I drew the conclusion that a dragon is here. But I seem to have forgotten your question. Sorry, I was in a rush to correct myself.
Oh, no, I wasn't asking a question. I was just commenting that it seems like everything is not all good.
No.
Things are going very, very wrong very quickly.
That would certainly seem to be the case. The arrival of new Changeling, 6 of you in particular, rather... Well, it certainly seems to hint that our foolproof plan wasn't as foolproof as thought, or bigger fools than what we had bargained for. However, it's a good thing that you're here. I'm very happy that you managed to escape from the gentry, and I hope that time there was as, I wouldn't say good, but as little bad as possible.
I personally frown as someone who has spent a while there, looking from side to side and then raise my hand again.
Yes, of course.
Matthew, if the gentry can come through here, if the veil is weakening, why don't people just leave the town, try to establish somewhere where the Fae can take their children?
Before I came to work, I lived rather far away from it. I lived close to New York City, and even there were reports of having been taken gentry, placed with fetches, and I would presume that this is not something limited strictly to the town of Littlebrook, although this particular place have been plagued by repeated kidnappings, a much more regular pattern. People don't want to leave Littlebrook. We discussed it briefly, and many of us have family here, many of us have a history here, and we wanted to try to find some matter of avoiding the downsides of it. As you can probably notice, the town is still quite thriving, despite the state of the economy.
I quickly interject. Don't worry, I never considered leaving myself. And then I begin to think, I never considered leaving myself, even though I just asked why people stay in the town with regular kidnappings. Matthew, why didn't I think of that?
Sorry, didn't think of
leaving myself. I
just
brought
now
up
when
the
you arrived
idea.
back in town, or when?
Just now, when I brought it up to you, I asked why has no one considered leaving, and then I thought of it, and it's it's like if I was playing a record and my mind just skipped over a word, a thought.
Well, a lot of us consider Littlebrook to be home. Leave the word most of us use when we refer to this town as home. Home is, after all, where the heart is, and there's really not been any reason to move in the last 17 years after the ritual was conducted. Mind you, it wasn't simply conducted just to bar the entry, but it was also created so that no further kidnappings were done, and in that regard, I would say it has been quite successful. There have been no disappearances of any children, teenagers, adults, or even elderly in the last 17 years. It's perfectly safe. In fact, the single most common cause of death in this town is age.
What was the price?
The price.
You said you paid a heavy price.
The price was that we ourselves have to remain. We each gave a part of our souls, part of our memory, the contract, spell-like, curse-like, whatever you want to call it, cast upon the town. And should one of us die, then I'm sure the contract will be fairly weakened by it. Thankfully, it's not happened yet. We have been discussing occasionally what would happen if such an event would happen, but we've been in touch with other communities outside of Little, both in Canada as well as even as close as Montreal. No, sorry, Minneapolis. And Montreal, of course, but Minneapolis. There is a small community there as well.
Speaking of dying, how old are you? And are you dying?
Good question. I was born in 1909. It's taken 39. Returned to England 54, and traveling since. I arrived to Littlebrook in 1993.
You
Jonas.
don't look 90.
Well, people have been saying that, and I suppose it's simply the fact that my connection with weird, it's called, kind of chaotic nature of Fae has always been rather strong. The time I spent in Arcadia was much, much longer. Time passed in real life, and I found myself the favorite scribe of my keeper, involved in several events that infused me with rather much of what you see. Body, it's contracts. Most sure my keeper would very much like to get their hand on me again, end them.
What
Jonas
about
is looking a bit agitated and restless. And how many like fakes, we'll call them fetches? How many fetches are there in Littlebrook right now where the real person has not returned from that other place?
I would say there are roughly 25. Some of them quite old. Most of them living perfectly normal lives. Loved ones, or their original loved one. It's extremely hard to tell the difference between the original. You happen to be one of our kind.
No, it's not. I knew Jonas wasn't him when he came back. That's why I went to look for him. Because he didn't know what we did on Saturday mornings. He didn't eat his favorite food anymore. Like, he used to change food and stuff like that when he for breakfast when he ate every morning. But he ate the same thing every morning since he came back. He was weird. He wouldn't talk to me the same way. He wouldn't do the same things. He didn't know some of the jokes that we had. I knew it wasn't him.
Well, perhaps the construction of this fetch was done in a hurry, or not quite as well as other ones were, but you are wait a minute, I reckon. Sorry, you're Sarah Carlsson, isn't it? And then that would be Jonas Carlsson. Yeah. Well, suppose a Darkling? Would you be a Ferris?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's terminology I've learned during my travels. A Darkling would be someone who, by their keeper, was kept either locked away or moving in the darkness, or essentially skulking about. Pardon my expression. A Darkling could have been employed as spies or infiltrators or doorkeepers, anything out of sight from others, as well as perhaps themselves.
That sounds terrible.
So what am I?
Well,
He's a Darkling.
these titles are, of course, approximations. Every single changeling is unique in their own way, and the categorization we've been using is mostly what we found most suitable. And I'm not entirely sure what you would be. My guess would be perhaps a wizard or fairest. What was your purpose in Arcadia, if you mind me asking?
I was a statue. That's why, like, if you look from the waist down, I'm different than from the waist up.
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't really finished.
Well, that would certainly seem to hint at your being a fairest. They're usually kept as toys or playthings, lovers, statues, decoration, essentially there to make the keepers look all the more rich, successful, or loved by the subjects.
I look around as Matthew begins cataloging and interpreting the servitude we had in the Fae, twiddling my thumbs and trying to shrink in on myself, but it's very difficult for such a large man, and no doubt will attract his attention eventually.
Our large friend over here would most likely be an ogre. An ogre is, as the term itself explains, a rather large individual kept around for muscle, to enforce the keeper's will, to strike down their enemies, to protect or guard locations of certain importance. It's a rough term, and there are certainly quite many different types of ogres. Friend here certainly fits the bill. Tell me, friend, I don't believe I caught your name.
Mine?
Okay,
All of
looking
yours,
at him,
actually.
I'm Nate.
looking at
And sorry?
I look at Matthew almost mutinously when he calls me an ogre, thinking perhaps it's not a job description, but as a large being, a fairy tale villain, that seems to be what my job description was. All this goes through my head as I look and finally say, Sylas. Sylas Larkin. I was...
Larkin. As your case is rather interesting.
Interesting?
I do know about you, and I know about your family. Were you aware that you have children?
That's not possible. None of the others have children, and I was 12 when I was taken. How did I have children?
That certainly does raise a lot of questions. According to my research, a fetch should not be able to have children. Are you sure you were 12 when you...
11, maybe. I
At that
started
age,
breathing
I
harder, but
assume you'd know that was the case. So I will have to... Sylas Larkin. Well, if you would allow me to perhaps interview you at another time, we could discuss the subject further. I don't really... There hasn't been anything hinting at these children being constructions of the Fae.
could
The gentry.
I mean, the construction could grow, but
Yes, that's certainly true, but they show no signs of being, well, fetches or fetch-like.
I mean, there aren't too many folk like me in Littlebrook. So where could they get them from, even if they wanted to?
I don't really have the answer to that question. I would like to pursue further at another time if it's possible. I believe it's rapidly approaching the time we need to go to the public high school principal. But you had further questions and names as well. I know Jonas and Sarah, and now I know Nate and Sylas. But looks over at Nova. I didn't catch your name.
Nova, Nadine. Nadine. It was Nadine.
Nadine. Friend of Amanda's.
No, Amanda.
Amanda kind of shrinks back a little bit more. She looks... she honestly looks very guilty and very worried. Like, she doesn't have a good poker face. Right, were there any further questions that you wanted me to answer right away? Of course, I have some questions of my own, but I do believe I can ask them at another time.
Yes, please. Sorry. Jonas, we need to ask, what happened to our parents? What happened to us?
Oh, you're the Carlssons. I believe your family decided to Fargo. Your father worked as the county prosecutor, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yes.
Well
Right?
then, yes. Your family moved to Fargo in 2004, and I believe they took you, both of you, with them. I think.
We found my replacement
Oh,
at
no,
our
that's
old
true.
house.
That's true. Jonas stayed around. Had a bit of a difficult couple of years, I believe. But Sarah went with the parents. The simulacrum.
What, and just left him?
Well, Jonas was married, so I presumed that your family thought he could take care of himself.
What? Married? To who?
Don't quite remember the name.
Was married? Did she die? He died?
Oh, no. Looks to Amanda. They're in the middle of a divorce, aren't they? Yes, him and Allison are having a divorce.
Oh. Jonas looks stunned. And
You liked her?
I believe that their relationship... Not mistaken. I will have...
I knew it! Jeez, he would never admit it. Okay, so okay, sorry.
well, doesn't really matter, right? Because she's married to that other thing now, and they're
But
having
they're-
a divorce, and everything is not as it's supposed to be at all.
But they're getting a divorce. This is good. You can still get her back, right?
Amanda whispers, "Oh, well, my apologies. It seems that you got married in 2010. That wasn't entirely correct dates that I deemed they got married after the death of her previous husband, Henry."
No. No.
Yes, that seems to be the case. You were in the same class.
Yes.
Terribly sorry for your loss. I do believe he suffered from a rather quick bout of.
I don't want to hear it.
Of course,
Please.
of course, I'm terribly sorry.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
Jonas just retreats into himself and sits down on the computer chair again and just not staring into the distance because he doesn't have eyes, but his head is just pointed at nowhere, basically.
I raise my hand slowly, trying to get Matthew's attention.
Yes,
Matthew-
Sylas, yes.
Matthew, this world is like something out of Flash Gordon in some places, with
A reference I
rocket
haven't heard in a while,
ships,
yes. Sorry?
rocket ships and computers and the internet.
Quite a lot to take in,
Matthew?
yes. Yes?
Matthew,
Yes.
I feel like I am about as useful here as a buggy whip, and that was before I spent decades in our. I calm down. I sink back into my chair and press myself down on it. And I ask, but I think you were alive even before I was, taken before I was. How did you catch up to your life?
It is a common procedure that changelings gather together in things we call freeholds. Essentially a gathering of like-minded changeling who realize that strength in unity much preferred to being alone again. Gentry, the kindly one. And my freehold had a very well-trained procedure of introducing recently escaped changelings to society. They were offered jobs, lodgings, a mentor even to help them through the worst of the changes. I met someone who had been taken in the early 1800s and returned 1950s. Imagine that kind of shock. Of course, here in Littlebrook, we don't really have a system of that per se. We sort of dismantled it too. 10 years later, we realized that we assumed that the spell had been successful and went out of business. It is our responsibility to ensure that you find your way again. I strongly recommend against interacting with fetches, those of you who have them, as that can only really result in a lot of pain, especially against those loved ones aren't aware of the switch, especially if it's been a longer time. However, we can guarantee lodging, we can guarantee minimum amount of income, and as you know, in Littlebrook in general, we take care of our own. There are plenty of work opportunities if you like to do that, and there will be plenty of time for you to do your research, to get acquainted with the time you're now in. But I am afraid to say that you will most likely never quite feel it. For many different reasons, right? Yes. know this is a shock to you. I'm not exactly the best at telling the truth. I would have rather the principal handled it. She has a bit of a gentler touch with things. She will most likely tell you the same things I did in a kinder way and offer whatever help she can.
All right.
You don't sound that bad. Mother could make things sound worse. There's some people who make things sound worse to make sure you understand. They insist on loyalty, and you haven't insisted on anything. You just say this is what's best for people around you, and I guess for the longest while it was.
I do believe that it will take you some time to. Some of us never really truly recover. However, do understand that you are in the company of friends. We will help protect you, teach you, guide you, whatever way we can. It is, if not our pleasure, then it is our duty. We are the only ones who can understand what you have gone through, can really understand it. And it would be cruel of us not to give you a helping hand in time.
I have a question.
Certainly.
If the dragon can come out, if we came out, can someone else come out, like you said?
I wouldn't be able to answer. I wouldn't be able to answer that right now. I would conduct some. Could be that there was a temporary lapse in the detective field contract, or like you surmised, it could simply not be working anymore. I would really need to find out. However, if we assume the worst case scenario, the contract is no longer protecting Littlebrook, there are certain beings. True. I have heard tales of huntsmen, of creatures capable of tracking escaped changeling, dragging them back to their masters. And as you are quite well aware of yourselves, the masters themselves may enter our world, although from what I understand it is rather unpleasant to actually causes them physical damage come to the mundane world of ours. Sorry.
Matthew, Mother tasked me a long time ago with rounding up I look around the room, changelings. Matthew, that dragon can track people. I can count, on one hand, the number of people who escaped before a few days ago. When they get the smell, they will pursue them. I thought it was me. I thought I was doing a good bit of the tracking, and I was, but when it comes to speed, the dragon can do something. We need to stop it. I don't know if that's a priority right now, but if that dragon gets going, who knows who will try to drag that.
It certainly sounds like a priority, and while you are meeting with the principal, which I must stress is of utmost importance, our de facto leader, she is the one who makes most of the decisions, unless the council, well, I say the council, but the rest of us decide we need to make a collective decision. She is the one who runs the show, as it were. While you're meeting with her, I will conduct my personal research. I will first of all visit wooden bridge across the river, the Rousseau Bridge, if I'm not mistaken. And after that, I will be trying to find traces of the dragon. I suppose it can't be that hard. It's a dragon after all. I do have some ways of tracking creatures from the hedge. I will do my best to locate this dragon so that we may deal with it.
I don't know if this will help, but when I was in the Durance, the dragon felt, let's just say, looked more than felt like a bicycle. We saw it as a bicycle, and the others and I, we would cycle down the streets of what looked like our neighborhood to pursue people that might help you. I don't really know.
That does help me quite a bit. It helps narrow down what manner of creature it is. A goblin creature, not a changeling or one of the gentry by itself. If it was, it would be much smarter, more independent, certainly be far more lethal. My guess is that it simply entered through the same portal you did before it closed, hopefully, and confused and rather intimidated by the mundanity of our world, it simply decided to escape whatever ways it could. This is, of course, what I assume, and certainly not guaranteed to be correct.
Confused by mundanity?
Our world is one of laws. Mathematics, science, physics. It is a world that we can, in certain ways, influence, but it is not like Arcadia. Arcadia is ruled entirely by the will of its owners. In Arcadia, the laws of physics are only relevant. Keepers wish it. Our world scares them, intimidates. From what I've gathered, they see us as walking embodiments of certain perverse pleasure in twisting it, adapt more to their world than our own. We are the bridge between worlds, if you wish. That is why we can exist in this world. But on the other hand, you've probably also noticed that you're not quite as powerful, not quite as gifted as you once were, now that you've entered our world. The Hedge has taken quite a toll and mean.
Can we ever get those parts of our soul back from the Hedge?
You can, short answer. Whether or not you should is a question I would pose back to you. The Hedge may have hurt you during your escape, but it also took from you memories. I'm quite certain there are blank spaces in your mind. Memories, years, perhaps decades, even in Arcadia or before you were taken, that just simply do not exist in your mind anymore. They can be found, Hedge, and in fact, they can restore a modicum of power to you. Very wise, however, they will also take from you, make you more like what you were. I would urge you to be careful. Icons. They are also lamplights, huntsmen, attracted like moth to.
Icons. I repeat to myself and stroke my chin. Icon.
There's a sound, some kind of electronic beeping, and both Matthew and Amanda kind of pick up their phones and they look and, well, I unfortunately believe that that is all the time we have. I'm sure you're quite hungry, and the principal has informed that you lunch high school cafeteria, and she will meet you in her office. Have
Okay.
would you need me to show you the way, or will you be able to make your way there on?
I should be fine.
Is this the high school
Yes,
or
the
okay.
Littlebrook High School.
No, then
No Blackbirds.
that's still a thing.
That's quite still thing yet.
We-
Block is there with Blackbirds. He's never been to high school.
It was actually a thing in the late 60s, I believe. Fully nickname was from a little bit earlier than that, but the whole animal mascot thing was something that came in the late 70s.
Right.
I will take Amanda with me. We will try to cover more ground. And then nods and goes, Nadine, when you're done with the principal, if you wanna come over, I can can talk about what's been happening.
Okay, Amanda. Okay, we'll have
Right.
that talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, Amanda.
Thanks.
Good luck out there.
Thank
Do
you.
you have? I have a question. Just this
Of
last
course,
one.
of
I
course.
promise. Do you have some kind of bottled water or something here that I can get?
I'm sure there's one in the fridge in the office. You're quite free to take as much as you want.
Oh, okay, at the school.
No. Here in my office, I have one in
Here.
the. Yes,
Okay, can I have one, please?
of course. You can all have water. I have some carbonated water, but most of it is still water.
I think that's fine.
All right,
I
then
just need some water.
I shall be off. Right. Come along, Amanda. Hey, the library. You're
Okay.
alone.
Jonas. Okay.
Yes. Jonas looks up with
Blanket.
with a quite monotone voice.
I know it sucks, but we gotta go to the school now, okay?
Of course.
Okay. We all know the way to the school, or do we gotta like show you or something?
The high school
look
is in the
together.
same place it's always been. Oh, sorry.
We'll just go together.
Agreed.
You guys lead the way.
You
I
head
clutch my
Yeah.
my water
Yeah.
very happily.
you head off towards the high school, which is really not that far away. This library is roughly in between the Littlebrook grade school and the high school. You head over to that area, and one thing you notice is that it's suspiciously quiet. There's a few kids out playing basketball. Some of them are hanging on benches and chatting with each other. It's not too uncommon sight. It was roughly the same when you were here as well. But the volume, it's not. I mean, it's a high school, so obviously they wouldn't be chasing and screaming. But it's kind of muted, and some of them look up and shrug at you or back at their friends when you walk by them. And you see there's been definitely some refurbishment of this place since you were here last time. There's new benches, there's a basketball court, which wasn't here when you were around, Sylas. You've biked past the school times. There
I'll look
are
around and
yeah. There's a few additions to the building. It's still the same kind of old brick house that you're, but it has a couple of murals painted that liven it up a little bit, and it seems pretty well preserved, all things considered. And of course, there's a huge banner. Get in the high school spirit, cheer for the Blackbirds. Gonna take state. And there's a Blackbird mascot, apparently. It's a kind of a fairly simple cartoon. It's basically just like a black blob and a black bob and two small yellow eyes and thick legs poking out and wings raised happily, cheering for the team. And the bell actually rings lunch break. So see teenagers streaming about. A lot of them are heading into town to eat at other places. There apparently is a school cafeteria though, because a lot of them are moving that direction. Some of you have even been in this fairly new building. It's like an annex, like a build on the main house.
An addition.
An addition. And inside the school cafeteria, which I assume you're heading into, actually there's food being served to the children. Students. And they're all lined up and some of them are chatting, but it's still not the same kind of high school chatter you'd come to expect from. There's no pushing, shoving. There doesn't seem to be much of a divide between students. You don't see the usual cliques. It's like a fairly healthy mix of people sitting together. You'd almost say it was ideal, except that
Oh, this is weird. Someone be shouting by now. Back when I was going here.
no food being thrown. There's no person sitting by themselves. But quite a couple of adults. We assume they're teachers. They're wearing casual clothes. Some of them are more fancily dressed than others, but there doesn't seem to be a dress code at this. And you see one of the people working in the kitchen is this middle-aged Vietnamese man who's smiling at you when you get here, and it's like, oh yeah, the guest of the principals. Feel free to take as much food as you want. We've got plenty. Dish today is a stir-fried vegetable mix with some rice, and we've also got soup and also some leftover loaf from yesterday, if liking.
Does this guy look like he's a changeling?
Nope, he's completely normal.
All right.
That's surprisingly healthy.
Oh, take the food. We've got quite a queue growing. There's
right,
already lots of kids behind.
You know what?
Jonas goes to the group and says, I'll take a table and go and sit somewhere where there is a table where there isn't anyone at the moment.
Yep,
A free table.
Yep, you sit at a table, roughly in a corner of the cafeteria. And there's a
Perfect.
There are, let me have a exact number. Oh, I thought I did. There are roughly 280 kids. So, not a super big school. And about half of them you'd say would be right now in the cafeteria.
The orderly students don't look at all out of place to me. No food fight, no breach of discipline. It makes sense. Because what do you think would happen to you if mother saw you taking food and throwing it? I look down to my plate. I remember that from what I hear in Vietnam, I dimly connected to a place called Indochina, where the French declared war in the 50s. But I am familiar with Korea. They ate rice. I put some amount of rice on that plate, a great deal more of the vegetables, and quite a bit of the meatloaf. In the end, it looks like a small fortress of meatloaf with a small moat of rice and vegetables piled thick on the plate as I shuffle out of the line and make my way to a table with the rest.
Perfect. So you all sit down at the table, and the food is very good. It's certainly not up to Joan's standard, but Joan is Joan. But this is, for cafeteria food, this is
Can I have taken a plate for Jonas and I give it to him with fork
absolutely.
and stuff?
Jonas looks at it, takes up the fork, and just like
I don't know how you
shuffles the
eat.
food
Can you
around.
eat?
Yeah, I can eat.
How?
And he takes a bit of food on his fork and just basically pushes it through the skin where the mouth would be, and the skin like envelops it and then like pulls it out again. So there isn't actually a mouth opening up. It's just like pushing through the exterior to deposit it inside of him. And
I'm just
then-
gonna try to vomit. Holy shit, dude! How?
That looks cool. Is it painful?
No, it's not painful.
It's like water, but it's skin. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Everything's water with you.
Super cool. And Jonas puts down his fork.
I
again.
mean, listen, what's wrong with water? You're 70% water.
Actually, I'm about 50% solid gold, 50% compressed carbon.
Okay, you were 70% water.
I was.
I win.
I guess you do.
Wouldn't you look like coal if you were carbon?
No, compressed superheated carbon. That's diamond, and that's what this is.
Really?
Point to my. Yep.
Huh. I always thought diamond was just something you got out of a mine or something.
I guess it's also something you turn people into. If you want a good decoration for your garden.
Our bodies do contain coal as well, but not to that extent, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, our human anyway. I don't know if we're not really human, are we?
No.
Jonas is looking around to see if anyone's like listening into this peculiar conversation.
You get a couple of weird looks. You're certainly not the usual kind of people who come to this area, but no one seems to be listening. They're too busy talking about the latest classes they've had or how they're gonna end up in the midterms, stuff like that. I mean, it's August, so it's still a bit off, but I don't know, they'll sneak up on you before you know it.
I hear one child whisper to another, "Is that guy an NBA scout? He's huge. He's wearing a basketball jersey. It'd make a lot of sense."
Yeah, I mean, you're exceptionally tall.
Jabs at his meatloaf and eat it.
Nova, are you eating or are you?
Poor Nova.
She got like a bowl of soup and she's just kind of trying a little.
It's not really to your taste. It doesn't taste very bad, but you're not that hungry. You got a lot on your mind. But you finish up. I mean, you keep getting looks, especially considering how different you all are from each other. But this is almost definitely evidence that you're not looking as weird to these people as you look to each other. Because, I mean, as 6'8" ogre, a person made out of crystals and gold, diamonds, and person without any features, someone dripping water, and essentially a human moth in disguise would catch way more attention. But eventually you are done, and you're actually approached by the man who served you the food, and he kind of wipes his hands on a drag and hold it out. Like, nice to meet you. I'm Huang Nguyen. I work here in the kitchen, and I was told that I was supposed to bring you folks to the principal, to Mrs. Price. And that rings some bells for Jonas and for Tide. Because you know that Mrs. Price was the history teacher of the city high school back in 2001. Don't believe she was a teacher at school in the 80s. So only you two recognize.
Huh. Oh,
Did we have her as a teacher even?
Good question. How old were you again when you were?
17, I believe.
17. No, you didn't have her. She was teaching seniors. I think would be 18, 19, correct?
Yeah, 17, 18.
You didn't have her. You saw her in the corridor a lot, though. She was involved in the student council a bit. Kind of a short woman, but with a lot of spunk. She was always very friendly and nice.
I think I didn't have.
No, no,
That
probably
is-
not. No.
That is like a year younger, right? So.
Fine.
The food was really good, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Kind of still holds out his hand, like buzzing at you. Oh, shakes it.
Awkwardly shakes
yeah.
it.
Glad
give
to
him a
hear it.
handshake,
Glad to
too.
hear it. Yep. So, where are you people from? If you don't mind me asking, you folks. I mean,
I think we're all from here.
oh, well, I'm
We
new
just
in town.
came.
Oh, welcome
here.
to Littlebrook. Me and the family, we moved here about it's about 14 years ago now. Haven't regretted a single day. All right, well then, if you just follow me, I'll take you to the principal's office. And don't worry, you're not in trouble. I just like to say bringing people to the principal's office. I don't think you're in
Hey.
trouble anyway. Is there something I should know about?
No.
Hopefully nothing that you should know about.
Oh, I'm gonna just ignore how weirdly cryptic that was, and I'll bring you to the principal. He just kind of walks away. Very quick-stepped, shorter man. I guess is kind of springing his step. And I suppose you follow?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. And you know where the principal's office is. All of you, I would say, except Sylas, never studied here. But it's in the same place. It is in. It's overlooking actually quite a bit of the schoolyard. It's on the second floor. There's a small second floor part of the building. Most of it is on the ground floor. And you've been here perhaps once or twice, most of you. Either getting a call from home or perhaps being scolded for doing something you shouldn't. And as you enter, it looks remarkably similar to how it was. The walls are painted kind of a light grayish beige, not the most stimulating of colors. There's a rather big oak desk standing with the chair behind it with the back against the window. An office chair, that one's new though. There's an inkwell, there's a whole lot of documents, various states of being written, signed. There's a photo of it's a photo on the desk, which you can't really see who it is unless you go in behind the desk. There's a small, the metal balls hitting each other. Oh, you know the one.
The Newton's Cradle.
Yeah, Newton's Cradle. Thank you. The Newton's Cradle on the desk, and there's an old grandfather clock against ticking time away. You notice that it is 5 minutes ahead of what the actual time is. Which none of you have a phone. Say you saw a large block hanging off the wall at the corner. There is no principal here.
Okay.
I suppose we'll wait.
Jonas, if she asks about the window, the one that got broken the first year, don't tell her, okay?
Sure.
I got into a fight with that other girl, the blonde one, and it got wild, but they never found out.
I don't think she cares about that anymore, but sure, I won't tell her. I'll go and look at the picture at the desk, just like glance over, see if I recognize the face.
Oh, there we go. You look at the photograph and realize it is a photo of one of those fetch creatures, as well as Mrs. Price, and they're kind of hugging each other. They're standing in front of a house, and Mrs. Price has a noticeable bulge on her stomach. Child.
Huh.
And just about then, the door opens, and in steps the principal of Littlebrook High School. And she is shorter than you remembered her, but she was still kind of short back then, and baby bump is still quite visible. He almost waddles in, and she kind of looks up and goes, "Oh, you're already here. Hi. Oh gosh. Welcome to Littlebrook. I'm surprised that you're here. I'm sure Matthew has told you already everything about it." And she kind of just gives each of you a hug. A quick one. But
Careful,
it's
I'm sharp.
heartfelt. Oh, she's just kind of careful. Sorry about the roadblock. Pretty late in the chain of events. How are you doing? Oh my gosh. Are you have some candy? She has a little bowl with candy on the desk. And Mrs. Blackbird certainly lives up to her name. She has in her already black hair, there are quite a bit of feathers. In fact, mixed, it's about 50-50 feathers going down her neck. They're mostly hidden in her long hair. She has these stark yellow eyes, very intense look, so intimidating if she wasn't a gentle person otherwise. And it has a kind of a rapture is certainly not the way you describe it, but kind of a birdish, narrow, pointy look to her face. Certainly much more than it was before. But other than that, she doesn't look nearly as much of an animal as Patty did. Certainly look mixed with, or for that matter, Matthew walking encyclopedia. Please sit down. She looks up to Mr. Nguyen. Hong, could you please get some more chairs in my office? Of course, Principal. And he goes out to fetch some more chairs for you to sit on. She sits down with a bit of a grunt in the office chair and just, whew. Oh boy. Well, I'm guessing you've had some time to acclimatize yourself to town. I'm sure that Amanda and Matthew and Patty's been telling you it's quite a surprise to see new arrivals in town, but we'll make the best of it. We always do. And I also heard something about a dragon, so why don't we start with that?
Yeah. When we got out, a dragon followed us, and now it's out here somewhere.
Huh. Well, that's cool enough, I guess. Haven't seen any forest fires lately, so I'm going to say that we're still in the safe. We're still safe, I guess. What kind
Some
of
of
a dragon?
some of us. Matthew was saying that from the way I described it, he thinks it's a goblin type creature.
Hmm.
When it was my mount back in Arcadia, it was very fast, at least compared to
It
many
was your
things.
it was your
And
mount in Arcadia.
of a sort, the true mother gave it to me, and there's a note of reverence in my voice when I talk about mother. It's not something.
Would that be your
It might make her suspicious.
keeper? Mother. That,
Yeah.
Yes.
I see. Were you all from this
Uh,
same keeper, or
I think so.
Mine, the one that kept me, was not calling itself mother in my presence, at least.
Yeah, that sounds kind of creepy if you call it that way.
Yeah.
Like when I hear the name mom or mother, I think of my mom, who's gone. So like, yeah.
I'm very sorry. First of all, I just realized I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Madeline, Madeline Price. I'm the principal of the high school, and I suppose I'm the lead freehold, if you that. Can I ask your names,
Nate.
mate?
Jonas.
Nova.
Nova. Wouldn't happen to be Jonas Carlsson.
I guess I am.
I was in high school. Well, I was actually not present. Had a little an accident that year, so I wasn't actually. I didn't have my head in the game, so but I'm glad to see you made it back safe.
Thank you.
Of course. And the rest of you, you strapping young lad. She Sylas like.
I'm Sile. Sile, yeah.
Sile?
I glanced back at the picture of her in the photograph, the pregnancy with her husband, and I say, congratulations,
Oh,
by the way.
Thank you. Yes, I'm quite happy. We've been trying to have children for a long time, and it's finally happening.
Take another look at the man in the picture. Try to see his features.
Yes, your name was Sylas. Yeah, he definitely not. And you, she lied.
I used to be Sarah. Sarah Carlsson.
Carlsson? Oh my. Well, I'm glad you two found each other. That's such a relief.
But I'm not Sarah anymore, so don't call me by that name.
No. Oh, of course not.
The real Sarah sucks. Well, whatever was.
Well, what do you want me to call you then?
You can call me Tide.
Tide, of course.
Yeah, with a Y.
With a Y. Tide with a Y. Of course. So that would be Nate, Nova, Jonas, Sylas, and Tide. I was told there was a sixth member.
Did he stay at the library?
Oh, of course, Matthew sent me a text saying that the last one of you is under the weather. So apparently didn't sleep that well tonight, from what I gather. Of course, with the introductions done, this dragon, Can't say I have much experience dealing with dragons, but I do believe that it would be proper for us to prioritize. Wouldn't assume that any of you handled such things during time and with your keep.
He punched it. I punched.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, well, that's impressive. I've never heard of anyone punching a dragon before.
I punched it, but it certainly hit me a lot worse.
Dragon, I would. We don't really have much tools or weapons of that kind here. We sort of decided not to stockpile things after we realized that contract we made. Fact, but we could have a few items that could perhaps help you along your way. I do believe Addie's got those. I understand that perhaps it's perceived as cruel of me to ask this, but we in Littlebrook believe that we take care of each other. You have, by accident, brought with you something that is a threat to our town, to your town. So we would ask if you could perhaps, in some way, try to deal with it. I understand it doesn't have to be killed, of course, but somehow make sure that it doesn't pose a threat to the people of Littlebrook. And if you can do us this favor, very much, if you can do us this favor, we will in return offer you safe lodgings, help in any way or form that we can offer.
Principal.
Yes, Jonas?
I will not say that our return here has been entirely a glad one, but I'm thankful for the assistance that you have been giving us. I am not a dragon hunter. I have no such experience. However, I am interested in assisting Matthew with the curse that he has been talking about. If you would allow me to assist him with that instead of this.
That can certainly be arranged. Absolutely. And mind you, if you do come upon this dragon and it sounds so silly when I say it out loud. Sorry. If this dragon is a threat too big for you to handle, of course, discretion is the better part of valor, and just observing it and maybe reporting back to us so we prepare ourselves to deal with it. Fine too. I wouldn't assume that you would risk your life fighting this. I will try to talk with the remainder of the city council and we'll gather what resources we have in case it's...
Can no one else fight on the council?
We can. It's been a very long time. I suppose it will take some time to discuss what we're going. I can't tell everyone to go fight this for us. I can certainly ask. But as you must understand, time is of the essence. I needed to meet you to know that I could trust you. I do trust you. But now I need you to...
Her words keep striking Sylas like hammer blows. He feels more and more withdrawn, rubbing his elbows as she speaks. Her cadence, her reasonableness, in some ways sound like mother. You feel like a worse person for not doing as she says when she's in her polite mood. So with that, I say, I'm sorry. I wasn't my idea to bring the dragon in here, and even less to unleash it wherever it's gone. I could track some things escape from Arcadia. That's, I guess, the thing I do, and my connection to dragon should make it that much easier. I'll try to find it. We just need a way to keep it down. Maybe learn something about it. I've had to tame it, but I've never had to defeat it in any real sense.
Again, if it turns out that this dragon is dangerous, then just simply finding it and at least trying to contain it, communicating, we will come to your aid. It is a bit.
I have an idea. Sylas, if you bring it to the river, I can freeze the river and I can contain it there. But if the river is in the middle of the town, people are going to see that. Is that fine?
If there's one thing I've proven to be good at, it is making a hell of a ruckus really quickly. If you can get it in the river, I can probably distract everybody for long enough.
You can do that.
Certainly an idea.
No shooting, though. No, don't shoot anymore, because that's not good. That's going to get us in jail.
I would appreciate if you refrained from using firearm.
What about fireworks, explosives?
Certainly that
Nothing
could
that would
work.
hurt anybody, but it would be noisy, colorful.
Tell you what, we don't really know where the dragon is.
That's true.
I can't guarantee that we can help you right away. But may be able to convince everyone looking for it.
Well, can we talk to them?
To the townsfolk?
Well, whoever can fight. I can talk to them. I can tell them we need to fight the dragon. I mean, how hard can it be?
I suppose.
Just tell me who are those people.
If you think we have enough time, I'll call for a meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, certainly, we could do that.
Can I get a
don't need to have
walkie-talkie?
What?
If you give me some kind of I don't know, some kind of walkie-talkie, I guess that would work for contacting people, right? I can tell them where I am.
We will provide you with a phone. For now. How would I?
It's like a walkie-talkie, but a bit better. I can
Yes,
show you
we will
how it
provide
works.
you with a very advanced walkie-talkie. We'll be able to even. There are some spots of radio shadow. I call it radio silence.
Yeah, radio silence.
Radio silence. But most of the woods should be covered by signals.
Or dead air would be the
Dead air.
term that you're looking for, yeah.
That's the one. I will then proceed to summon town council, but I don't think Matthew or Amanda will. Jonas, I will send him a message and tell them we'll meet up with them at the. Would be a good up the bridge, perhaps.
I know where they are. They're just left for where we came from, so I'll find them there.
Very good.
But just say if it's just about finding the dragon, I can help if you prefer that. But fighting it and making a ruckus or freezing it in a river, that's not something I can contribute to. And I might be able instead to contribute to what Matthew is working with. But this is the first day I'm back here. I think you know the situation better and can tell me where I can help you the most.
I believe you. It's good that you join with Matthew and Matthew informed me that once he was done inspecting of your entries, further investigate the dragon. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that we don't even know where in the woods it's gone. So it would make more sense for us to split into smaller parties together.
I agree. It'll be easier also to maintain some element of stealth in smaller
But
groups.
do not move alone. Try to move in groups of at least 3.
Of course.
I would usually not warn you, but you must understand, it has been 17 years like this, and remotely like this, and I really don't wish to see. I will help as well as I can down in her stomach, but I don't think it's wise for me to go out into that
Understandable.
anymore. But I will stay in the city hall, and I will provide any help I can. Have some methods of scrying, although without having met the dragon myself, I probably won't be able to find it on.
All right.
If I could tell you where it was over the phone, I guess.
That would perhaps work. We will have to see. If we're lucky, then perhaps the dragon has decided to leave the... Lucky or unlucky, I will inform fellow changelings in nearby cities of the problem, and should they spot it, we will be there.
Understood.
For now, however, you will have to excuse me, I will phone calls. We will meet again in the city hall. There's a room there. If you can wait for me outside, I will meet you there. And I'll make sure that Patty brings a phone or 2.
All right.
And very good.
I'll
yes.
leave for Matthew then. Can I get a ride there?
I can
on the
ask
other
Mr.
side of
Nguyen.
town.
He's done in the kitchen for the day, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he will be joining his wife at
If
her
you can get
office.
me to Jones Cafe,
Yes,
that
of
would
course.
be
He will drop you off.
excellent. Thank you.
But shouldn't you get a phone first?
Yes.
I will give you Matthew's number. The rest of you have Matthew's number. I don't think Jonas will leave them once he gets there.
No.
That should be it.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Of course. And Jonas, I'm very, very happy. Hope things will settle down quick enough, and we hope you get acclimated to present.
I hope so too.
The rest of you, the same. Well, have anything you wish for me to look up or find out before we meet again? I can do a little bit of research, but I really have to make calls if you believe we're in quite a hurry.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for your offer, Principal.
Of course. Please.
That's all we need.
Call me Madeline. Or
All right,
Mrs.
Madeline.
Blackbird, I suppose, is what the others call me. Silly name. And
How'd you get it?
Blackbird.
And I believe we are just a few minutes away from ending, but this is where I wanted to end the session because Lars is not here. Fortunately, Jonas will not be playing with us next time because
He's hanging with Matthew.
He's hanging with Matthew. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But
Very
Lars,
smart. I like it. Great idea.
it's a good idea. Just staying the
He needs
hell
to
away from the
remember-
dragon.
He needs to remember to take the Harry Potter books that we forgot.
That's true. That's true. He's got to catch up with the Harry Potter. In 2001, how many books were out? I'd say 3, right? 2 or 3.
I think like 2 or 3, something like that. I seem to
Pretty
recall.
sure. I might even be 4 because I remember
there was a gap.
either I was in high school or second year university in 2001, and I'm pretty sure, not 100%, but pretty sure that Goblet of Fire was in that time period.
Yeah, I believe there was a gap between the 4th and the 5th book for a while actually. Wow, this is certainly the top.
This is research that needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But thank you everyone for watching.
I have one more thing
Yes,
to add.
yes, of
Sorry,
course,
sorry,
of
sorry.
course, of course.
The,
The
The
cake.
cake is still alive.
It's still alive.
Not
There still
yet.
hasn't been any cakes
Yes.
made. Oh my
You
god.
can't see this.
I
There
will-
you
I
go.
Well-
can see it. We gotta work on that.
Yeah, we
gotta
gotta
get
work on
that
it.
cake.
Gotta get
Still
the cake.
alive. I keep track.
It's still
After we kill the dragon, we'll get the cake.
yeah.
Okay.
We
Okay,
better.
that's fair.
Thank you everyone for watching. As usual, this episode will be up on YouTube in 2 weeks. For subscribers to the Onyx Path Twitch, you will be able to watch it as soon as we go offline. If you're a patron of mine for just $8 a month, you will be able to catch it in glorious 1080. Last week's episode is going to go live next week. Unfortunately, there will not be a new episode next Thursday, but there will be a rerun of this one, unless things change, but I don't believe. So if you caught up a little bit late to this stream, you will be able to catch it next time. And I guess until November 7th, we love you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you had fun. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye, audience.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
people.
Bye bye. Bye.